Hi guys, thanks for joining me for part 3 of my player guide series. Um, Based on some feedback, I'm going to keep this one much shorter. I've been told that the others are a little bit long for guides, and looking back, they're sort of 45 minutes each, part 1 and 2. So I can definitely appreciate that. Um, so what I'm going to do is keep future guide videos, much shorter, hopefully, and I'll probably go back at some point in the next few days and record some short summary videos for parts 1 and 2 as well. That'll basically cover the fundamentals that I already covered in those vids, but much more briefly. So, as you can see here, I've already started my ship. I'm already in the process of crafting it. And as I said in the previous couple of vids, this part 3 is going to be covering an engine powered ship. So to cut down on time again, rather than starting it from scratch, since I covered a lot of the basics of the the frame customization and stuff in the last vid. So to cut down on time, I've already made a good start on this. It's pretty much nearly complete actually, without paneling, and I'm not gonna go on the paneling. Don't need a massive amount of paneling, just for demonstration purposes. I did touch on the paneling system last time. I might do that a little bit further into this vid as well, but for now it's not really that important. So I'm going to craft one more engine here. As you can see, I've only got two engine schematics right now, both of which are common. I'm not really too fussed about stats, because again I won't be keeping this ship just like on the last vid, and I'm also not really too fussed about what type of metal I'm using either. In this case, most of the parts are actually crafted out of lead, which I wouldn't recommend for your own ship. Lead is heavy. It's not going to be ideal. But for the purpose of the vid, I'm just using lead. So I'm going to go ahead and craft my fourth engine, which will be the last one. So again, as I demonstrated previously, you'd simply select it off this left-hand panel. First of all, you press E on the assembly station, select the part off the left-hand panel, whatever part you want to craft, engines, wings, cannons, etc. Drag your resources over into these slots here. That's all you need to do. If it's a metal icon like it is there, then it's just metal. Obviously, if it's wood, you would use wood. So just to demonstrate, and obviously some require a mix of the two, such as the crate, some wood, some metal. But yeah, so you simply drag your resources over to the icons like so. And again, eventually this will all matter. What materials you craft the mechanical internals out of, what materials you craft the casing out of, it'll all affect different statistics. So mechanical internals, you might want something that's obviously a good conductor like copper or some such. The casing, you might want a harder metal to make sure it's it's protected, that kind of thing. But for now, as I say, I'm just crafting everything out of lead because I chose an island that's pretty abundant in lead and not much else, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm gonna add this last engine here once it's finished crafting, like so. I'm gonna try and attach it to the frame like I did on the other side. You can clip engines inside of each other right now and stuff. The collision model is not perfect, as you can see. That actually won't damage the other parts. So there's my 4 engines. As you can see, I've already got some cores down. I'm going to craft one more core, because why not? Just to make sure that I've got evenly balanced lift or whatever. I'm running out of metal. I did have 2,000, but yeah, ships are expensive to craft, especially when you start getting into engine powered territory and stuff. So I'm going to put this core when it finishes crafting. Right, so put that there. Actually, I should do it from the ground, a bit more stable, like so. As you can see, the lights are yellow, so it will provide enough lift, surprisingly, considering everything's crafted out of lead. But yeah, obviously, because I'm not paneling it up and stuff, that's fine. I want one more fuel tank, so I'm going to go ahead and craft that. And I'm going to put this fuel tank, actually it doesn't even matter too much, but generally how I'd build my ships is I'd panel most of the fuel tanks away out of sight to make it a little bit harder to grief them. The fuel tanks are linked, so you only need one. I'm going to put the last one up here. You hold E to refuel when you've got fuel in your inventory, like I have. So I'll hold E on there. As you can see, this progress bar comes up. Sorry, refueled 150 units of fuel, which is the only amount. That's how much I had on me. And that's refueled. That would refuel all the tanks. So the more tanks you've got, the more capacity you've got, but you don't need to go in and refuel them individually. They're all linked, which is ideal because you only need one out on display, really. One that you can access, and the others can all be squirreled away to make it a little bit harder to grief. So looking at this, what do I need? I want to craft a bar pipe real quick. Decoration. That's what I want. Gosh, that takes 50. So yeah, I'm going to craft a bar pipe. And the bar pipe is for attaching gauges too. Now, gauge placement right now, very, very buggy. Not great, not perfect. But obviously that will undergo some refinement at some point. So I'm just going to, when I hear it finish crafting, like so, I'm going to put the bar pipe about there. I'm going to really quickly craft some gauges. I always forget what these are under. Utility. There are more gauges than this. There's I've got the fuel gauge, the heading indicator, the airspeed indicator. There's also the altitude meter. Is that it? Artificial horizon. There you go. Couldn't remember. Yeah, artificial horizon as well. I'm going to go craft one of each of the ones I've got. These are schematics, so you will have to find them. You won't start with the ability to craft them. In fact, you won't start with the ability to craft much of what I've put on this ship, to be fair, apart from the cores, the helm when I place it, and the containers and the sail. Everything else is schematic that you will have to find in chests and such. And chests were detailed on my previous vid. No, part 1, sorry. So I'm going to try and place these. They are a bit finicky. They're not as bad as they were, but they're still not ideal. So there's my fuel gauge. For my own personal ships, I usually have a fuel gauge on the bar pipe, but also one on the fuel tank, so crew members can quickly check at a glance as well. I'm not going to bother with that this time, because as I say, I'm not keeping this ship, but it's always worth doing. Right now, I'd also recommend crafting 2 helms. I'm only going to put one on this, but yeah, I mean, with the grief in the way it is right now, not to mention obviously bugs, parts dislodging and damaging other parts, if your helm gets destroyed, you're screwed. If you're in the sky and you can't make it back to a shipyard to fix stuff up, which you won't be able to do without a helm, obviously, then you're up shit creek without a paddle, to put it bluntly. So yeah, 2 helms is always a good idea. I mean, visibility on the second helm doesn't matter too much. I usually put mine down in the bottom deck, so you probably, you're not going to be able to see. You're not going to be able to see where you're going from the second helm, but if you fly with a crew, it's not that big a deal. And even if you're flying solo, it's an emergency helm, really. It's not meant to be much more than that. You can always jump off it, keep the controls going, which is a thing, and jump off it to check your surroundings, etc. And I will explain the maintaining control while you leave the helm as well, actually, once I take off. So I'm going to put this over here, like so. And then my 3 gauges. Obviously, like I say, there are more. I don't have the schematics for them yet, but yeah, we've got fuel gauge, heading indicator, which is essentially a compass, and your airspeed indicator, speedometer. What else do I need? Let's have a look. A respawner, obviously. I'm not going to put one on here, but you would generally need that. The reason I'm not putting one on here is because obviously I'm not keeping this ship. But yeah, if you're making your own ship, you want the crew reviver, and it's only 50 metal total 2 stacks of 25, so it's cheap enough. Once you place that, as I detailed in part 2 of this series, you'd hold E on it to assign to it. Ships will despawn once all associated crew log off, and by associated crew I mean people who are assigned to one of those respawn discs. So if you've got 3 people on your crew and they're all assigned to a respawn disc, as long as only one of them's online, the ship will stay in the world. Once all 3 of you have logged off, then the ship will despawn. The devs have mentioned about, maybe implementing a system whereby you can assign to a secondary spawner, so that you're not putting the main ship, flagship if you like, at jeopardy if you're the only person online. But no more. We haven't heard much more on that since it was mentioned a while back. Would be cool, but it's not really high priority right now, I guess. I'm gonna craft one more cannon just to show you guys. Can never have too many cannons. Firepower. Yep. And sometimes I freak out like that, but they shouldn't take damage. So if it starts slamming about off the assembler, don't worry about it too much. I'm gonna put that just there, like so. I think that's everything for essentials. I do want to show you. I don't need to be at the assembler for this. Ammunition, cannon shells. Again, the shells are a schematic, so you will need to find that before you can craft ammunition. And the cannon's obviously a schematic as well. I'm going to craft 30. I've got 3 cannons. That's 10 in each. I'll go back up top now. I just want to show you how you load the cannon, because it's not clearly apparent. So obviously, to jump on the cannon, you run up to it and you press E, where it says to take control. But to load the cannon, you want to be looking for this chamber on the side, this magazine chamber, perhaps. It's an inventory. You can't put anything else in it other than cannon shells, like you can other. So you can't cheat it and use it as extra storage or anything like that. It will only hold cannon shells. But there you go. We've got 10 in there. Got 10 in this one. Oh shucks! I'm really terrible at navigating ships. I do apologise. Go back up, and finally 10 in this one. So there we go. Cannons are now loaded. I'm fueled up. I've got enough cores. Engines. Worth pointing out, I'm not going to do it on this build, but again, for our main ship, for me and my crew's main ships, we mount vertical engines. Usually sort of 2 up, 2 facing up, 2 facing down, or 4 facing up, 4 facing down. And the reason we do that is because it helps quicken your ascension and descension rate, if descension's a word. So it's really useful. Yeah, it's really useful for going up and going down. So what do I need? Helm. There we go. Oh yeah, one other thing. As you can see on my design there, I actually have I've mounted the engines inside. Again, this I could panel those up and hide them, and again, it's purely for protection, so that someone can't just grapple the ship and salvage them off the side or the underside or whatever. They can still salvage them, but they'd have to salvage the paneling off first if I was paneling this up. Obviously you're free, you're free to design your ship however you like. And with today's update about griefing and the steps they're going to be adding in 5.3 and future alphas to try and reduce that, it probably won't be as big of an issue. It won't be as easy to just jump on and salvage engines, but yeah, I mean, it's still quite a smart way of designing, I think. So I just want to offset that a little bit and make sure that I can actually see the gauge there, which I can. Something else to mention: when you're on the helm, obviously you're in first person, but you can actually hold the right mouse button and move the mouse to pan the camera and look around, and you can look around in 360 degrees. You can't look directly up or directly down, that's about your limit there, but you can look all the way around and stuff, which is really useful. So place your helm smartly, place your helms wisely, and make sure that you've got good visual coverage so that you can check your blind spots, as it were, and whatnot. So that's about everything, actually. I think I've already got my crates on there, which, if you want to know how to craft any of that, it's exactly the same as the parts you've seen me craft today. You select it off the crafting tab at the side here, and you select what, you drag the materials into that slot, click craft. Quantity doesn't work like right now, as I said in part 2, but I'm sure that'll be fixed. So yeah, first of all, we're going to take off. And we're just going to get out of range of the docking, the shipyard, the docking field, as it were. I've forgot to put wings on, but never mind. It's not a big deal. But yeah, to get out of range of the shipyard, because it will pull you back in if you're close enough. It's got like an invisible pull, like a tractor beam. So we're gonna raise so far up so that we're out of range of that. I'm going to turn away from that wind wall because I forgot to put wings on, so I don't want to be going into there. The wings help with stability and stuff, so I'm just going to turn away from that. And oh yeah, what I talked about, maintaining the control while you leave the helm, actually. So for example, when you're steering, you use A and D to pivot on your axes. If you hold D and then press E without releasing D, you will continue to turn like so. The same with ascension. If you hold space and release the helm with E before letting go of space, you'll continue to rise, and then obviously control to descend, exactly the same, and you'll continue to descend automatically. And then helm controls. So this lever on the right hand side, this one here, is your helm control. I'm just going to stop us descending there. I don't want to crash into anything. Yeah, that's your engine basically. So you'd hold W to go forward. You can hear my engine spinning up, and then you'd hold S, take it back to the center where this is like a beige / orange panel there. That will stop you. That's dead stop. Hold S and you're going to reverse. Very, very simple. You get the hang of it in no time at all. This pipe on the left here is your ascent and descent, just to let you know you're ascending or descending. As you can see, the glowing blue, I'm not sure what it is actually, but yeah, it basically moves. It lets you know what you're doing, whether you're ascending or descending. There's momentum, so if you're ascending for a little bit and you then return it to center, it will still carry on ascending for a little while. It'll slow eventually, but if you wanna stop it, you can all just counteract it with with descend to come to a sort of come to a stop like so. Moving the mouse is basically banking. You can bank with the mouse. You can yaw, I suppose, as well. Nose down, nose up, that kind of thing. As I say, and D a pivot, and yeah, that pretty much covers it, I think. You can obviously speed up and slow down incrementally, so put it in any one of these panels and just whatever speed you want to go. You don't have to always go at max speed, and as you can hear, the engines will change pitch accordingly. So there I'm going pretty slow, they're pretty quiet. Put it on full throttle and they're going to ramp up, as you can hear. And this ship is going about what's that? Can't get a good look at that. 15 knots maybe, something like that. So it's not particularly quick, but as I say, most of the parts are made out of lead, so there is that. And firing cannons, it's simple enough. You jump on it with E, left mouse button. They have a harsh firing arc right now. The cannonballs drop quite quickly. You can see I'm reloading in the bottom left. I tried to fire again. Reload time and all that sort of jazz is based on stats and and how and the materials you use, the kind of metals you use, etc., etc. It's not all that stuff isn't fully implemented yet, but it will be. And that about wraps up this vid. That's you know, how to craft a basic engine powered ship, a little bit more advanced than the sailing ship I covered last video. I've tried to keep it a little bit shorter. Obviously, I covered a lot. I'd crafted a lot of it before I started recording, just to cut down on time. But yeah, thank you for joining me, and I'll, I'm always listening to feedback. I really appreciate it. So if you have any comments, any suggestions, feel free to let me know. And if you have any questions, as always, feel free to post in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you soon.